Jay and Josiah. Welcome everyone who's listening. Welcome to another episode of Josiah's Voice. I'm here with Jay Essence of My Cousin Connection. Thank you so much for
Yes.
joining me this morning. This is really cool. This is one of my first interviews since moving out here, and a friend turned me on
Mhm.
to your videos, and it's you put out a lot of amazing content to just try to help people who are or is it repatriating, or those who are choosing at least to become expats. They may not be repatriating to
Right.
Rwanda if
I
they're
will
not
say
from
because it's a
Rwanda.
journey.
Right.
Yeah. Like I said, it's a journey, and I know the official word is repatriating,
Hmm.
but for me, I think the answer is it's a journey. Some people may want to move, some people may want to visit, and I just believe in giving information and knowledge.
Awesome. Love it. That's what we're here to do today. For those, Jay and I have not met before. And if you are listening and you're
Oh.
new to this podcast, let me reintroduce myself to both of you. Jay, I'm Josiah. I've enjoyed watching you for a few months now as I was planning to move out to Rwanda. And on this podcast, it started out as a hobby, but I've kept up with it the past couple years since the Rona struck. Kudos to everyone who's getting over and getting through that together. On this
Yes.
podcast, um, I chart my journey actually as a writer and creative, and over the past year and a half, I've
Yes.
started.
Okay.
Thank you. I've started expanding, challenging myself, and interviewing cool people like yourself about their business ventures. I've talked to
Hmm.
musicians, filmmakers, writers. I just like to talking to creative people at this point. So I'm charting my journey and the creative journeys of others. And I thought it'd be really cool to have you on to share your journey and your expertise and your gift with others. So welcome. And welcome
Well, no, I
all
was going
new
to say
listeners.
thank you. And then I think that once we tap into this, and if you say, Jay, give me the truth, and I'll give you the truth, that this journey, because everybody's like, oh, she's a business person, she's an entrepreneur. No, baby, I have to become one in order to sustain it. I'm a creative and I
Okay.
just solve problems. And so when you talk about the music, like I'm a writer. I love
Okay.
writing. I actually have a poem. It's called My First Love, and it's about writing. And so what's happened is just in the journey of finding space and getting to have more time being me, I've
Yes.
rediscovered or I'm discovering new parts of me and just
Ooh.
having the opportunity to go out and venture, and those parts are creating businesses now that become sustainable. And so my journey is into one sustainable living, which you can understand out here when you move. It's like, how do I keep this? I like it. So how do I make sure it's sustainable? And then the journey is into becoming a businesswoman. I didn't take not near business class. Somebody asked about, these ventures. I don't know how to code. I don't know JavaScript. I don't know not near nothing. So it's how do I have this thought space? And that's where it comes from a creative, because we create. So how
Yes.
do I create something? And then what am I willing to learn? What am I willing to do? And what am I able to outsource? And with a vision that is plain so it can become sustainable. Like that's the journey.
Wow. Okay. You just painted a really amazing picture for me. So, okay. So we will get ready to get into that. Before we do that, though, um,
Yes.
so guys, for those who have been listening and those who are new, I'm initially from uh, PG County, Maryland, and then I moved to Los Angeles in 2019. Spent about pretty much 3 years out there, and I've recently been in. By the time this comes out, I would have been in Rwanda at least 5 to 6 months. I'm not sure quite when this one
Oh,
will
wow.
go out. As of right now,
Yes.
in March of recording, thank you. As of this
Mm-hmm.
recording in March, I've been here 3 months. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so that's a little bit about me. Jay, could you tell us a little bit tell everyone a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and what you did?
Okay, so I'm known as J Essence. So if you want to follow any of the social medias, and that J is JAI Essence, and my strongest media platform is YouTube. So that's where people get to really get to know a lot more about me and everything else like that. So the history of who I am is very simple. I was born in California, moved to, oh my God, I forgot all of these now. It's like so many places.
So many
Born in
places.
California, moved to Louisiana, then I think I was in Oklahoma, moved then to Florida to go to college, Florida Agricultural Mechanical University, go Rattlers, go. And
Hey.
then moved back to Tennessee for a second, moved to Texas, Chicago, and then back to Texas, lived in Liberia for a hot moment. And then I claim most of Texas now, because that's been my longest time Spain. And then from Texas, that's when I decided to go international. Well, technically I was international with Liberia, but I lived in Dubai for 2 years, and from Dubai moved to Rwanda. And so that's just the hop, skip, and a jump. So where you say I'm from, I'll be honest to say, I don't want to say that I don't know anymore. I think that every place that I've explored has rubbed off to me a little bit. So people be like, oh,
Okay.
you act like you can't do that to me. Like, I mean, I'm gonna eat me some collard greens, baby, and some grits.
Mm.
But I still have a flair for the arts and everything. The eclectic styles of Chicago, like all of these different things. So I just love at this point in time being on what I call my journey, and so that's pretty much where I'm from. However, if I was in the club and a song came on, most times you're gonna get me on South Side or something in Florida, So I think
Yeah.
the genes be like, I'll be like, hey, okay, that's where my bumps jump,
Yeah.
So that's it.
Cool.
So when people come into the J Essence persona has been alive now for maybe about 3 years, 2 years.
Mm.
And that really came in when I was making the decision of coming to Rwanda. And it was not an easy decision. I actually started, the big one was I decided to leave America. And so I kind of started my journey a little differently. And when I talk really detailed into it, and depends on which questions we go into, I was making a plan to leave America.
Okay.
And I just wanted it to be sustainable. I needed space to figure me and find me out. A lot of people are more political or anything. At that point in time, I was just, in a way, screaming for space to be me,
Okay.
to not have to live up to a norm or a stereotype, to not have to feel as if I didn't matter. And so now when you talk about police killings and all that stuff, I felt like as a Black woman, nobody wanted me. Just,
Yep.
and I wasn't put on this earth for that. And I
Right.
knew I was great because I did businesses before. I was top class. I had a great career. So it's like, I know I'm great, but I was still suffocating.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's when I came up with the ideas. Like, I think I need to leave America for a while.
Gotcha.
And I utilized the talents that I knew I had. And at the time that was teaching, and started looking at international teaching careers. And I
Wow.
used that as my platform to just get away. And once I knew I was able to get away, because at this point, Rhonda was not part of the equation. I was able to step away and then be in a platform where I could start looking at things differently. And the big deal is I'm 44. So he's like, okay, what
Stop
are you gonna
lying.
do when yes, I'm all of the four and the fours. I'm gonna put
Black
all
don't
of it.
crack.
Like when I tell you that, when I take the 365 and multiply it times 44, baby, that is me. That is me. And no, it
Love
don't
it.
crack, but the gray do show. So I'm gonna go get that fixed.
I don't know if you
Right.
can
I'll be
see.
like, I mean, I'm not cracking here, but like, what is that? Wisdom's trying to peep out. And I'd be like, no,
You beat me to
that
it.
lesson. Keep
Keep
that
that
lesson
lesson.
back in the edge cream. Keep that lesson in the edge cream, please, baby. So I was thinking about retirement because it's
Okay.
like the one thing I'm not going to do is bust my tail at 84. Like, I'm going to tell you what's not going to happen is me calling somebody, or what I call, at the time I felt like I was begging for my paycheck. Like I have to sit here and do this stuff because I
Right.
have a boss, and what you said was stupid, but I like my rent being paid, so I'm just going to have to do that. So
Food on the table, clothes on my back.
it's like, it's just the little things, like eating. kind of nice.
Yeah.
Medical insurance.
Gas in the car.
So I was like, okay, I have to be very intentional because I did feel like I found a lot of people, especially family members, falling into retirement. And then when they get there, realizing, oh, they don't have enough money. I'm very afraid of the stuff that we're seeing now with this inflation at the time. Like, just what if the dollar isn't worth the dollar? And the one thing I'll go back to saying I'm not going to do is be stressed when I'm 82 or 72. And then that's when I also realized I'm really banking on these long-term years, baby. These ain't promised. Like, what's my number? I don't know my number.
Make the most of it. Absolutely.
The other thing is, I was like, I'm not going to do this. Like, I'm not going to fight my way to retirement and then die after 3 months. Like, like,
nah, we're not doing that.
As long as I worked is as long as I'm going to retire. Yeah. So that's just started me with the retirement plan. And that's when I started saying, okay, where do I want to retire? And I was very strategic. I was looking at currency cost ratio, different things, lifestyle, weather. Because like I told you, I lived in Chicago.
Right.
I'm not fighting snow. I'm not going to have arthritis and fight snow. Like that's just 2 no's for me. And then, kind of like your medical insurance, where can it be? And so that's when I gravitated towards Africa. I don't know why. I just was always gravitating. And that's not saying anything. Panama was cool. There was a couple other places, but I was just like, I think I can do this on the continent and be okay. And so, of course, like most people start off, I was in Ghana. I was like, okay, I could do this. I could do this and do this. But because I had moved to Dubai, and one thing that's different is in the States, and I'm going to say at least pre-corona, if you really pay attention, we talk so much about West Africa. We do not talk about East Africa.
No,
we don't.
I peeped that
don't
too,
really know East Africa. And so it wasn't until I got to Dubai when people were like, yo, you checked out Rwanda? And I was still like, I said, yeah, like Don Cheadle did a great performance. That's all I knew about Rwanda. It's like Don Cheadle with a great performance, and they were like, okay, it's really beautiful. Really? Like, little bitty Rwanda, little
Not
like
so
you got a whole
Tanzania,
you got a whole Kenya, like of all these big places, big stuff popping. What T.I. taught us, no, there's little Rwanda. Like I said this, and this is so funny. I'm sorry, forgive me. I said Rwanda is like for a female, like that brother in the club that got good credit and glasses, and he just sitting in the corner while all his homies is out there hollering, but he's stable. He the one that you're supposed to be hollering at. But he just sitting back watching parlay, and he's there if you want him, but you just got to get through all the party people. That's Rhonda. That is Rhonda.
Don't sleep on Rhonda.
I'm just telling you, Rhonda is there. Rhonda's there with some good credit. Come from both families, real stable. What you want? Oh, you want to go out on the street? You want to run around and have somebody drop you off at the 5 and dime and forget your name? Like, you could go ahead and do that. I'm here.
If you want.
Good career.
Rhonda be waiting.
Rhonda's there.
That's hilarious.
Rhonda is there.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. And so I started researching Rhonda a lot more. And it was just like, yo, I can't believe at least these structures are in place. Like no place is perfect, but they've done a lot more work on trying to be ideal for people who are moving. Let me at least check it out. And so I actually got a job offer out here. I was jump. Just at this point in time, you jump. And there's so much I've learned now at 44, even with jumping and speaking and asking. And I would even say audacity. Like, what's the worst that what's the worst thing that honestly can happen after a jump? A fall, correct?
Yeah.
Right? Not death. Fall.
A fall. Gravity's working.
A fall. So it's all about the resilience you have as a person, and almost kind of like the platform. I knew I have everything set up that worst case scenario, I could go back to the States. If that's my worst case scenario, something I've been living for 42 years, jump, girl, jump. You've been groomed for this. You've been like, you're trained for this. Your mind, there's so much other things that you can do. How about you jump?
Wow.
And I did. And, started the job, was doing that. And then just these opportunities start coming and knocking. And so if I get into my cousin connection, it was really somebody looked at me and was like, you need to put together something. First of all these people who always got plans for you. You need to put together something to help people, relocate and make things easier. And I was like, I don't know who you talking to. Like,
Like
first
that.
of all, let's talk about this. Like, you got some audacity. But it was an elder, and I respect the elders.
Yes,
So,
likewise.
and for whatever reason, that conversation did not leave my spirit. And I think
Okay.
that's what I really have to learn. Even now, I'm saying it. So thank you, God, for letting me enunciate it. There's some
Hmm.
things that are supposed to leave. There's things that trouble your spirit. There's things that should leave your spirit. And then there's things that kind of just linger in
Yeah,
safe places. Those things that linger in safe places may be meant for something. And so
I
it
like
just
that.
lingered. And my mind started calculating,
Hmm.
how could this happen? I went back to him. We had a detailed conversation because I think that's another thing that I'm learning. It is so easy for people to talk. And we can sometimes misconstrue that. I went and had a detailed conversation and let me see if this is plausible or whatnot. And then he kind of gave me permission to keep going. And I did. And I set together the parameters on what I'm going to do this under and what I'm not going to do this under. And the biggest one is I am not going to go on this business venture by myself.
Right.
I am not going to create a space that I think people are going to want. I'm going to create a space that I know people are going to want. And that's why I did the crowdfunding
Mm.
to start it. And I had the videos where I was like, I'm not doing this. If we don't hit our target, and the target was 5,000, if we don't hit this target, it's not going to happen. I'm not.
Gotcha.
And I think as a creative, we can understand that because so many times when you create something, and that's where I come in with the writing, I've written books,
Hmm.
I've written all this stuff.
Love
And
it.
yeah. So my big thing at that time, or even still now, is I don't always look at success by, like, if you say your likes or your numbers, and I can talk more about what I've learned about that. And that's
Hmm.
so powerful that I was thinking about that. My success came from a to-do list, a checklist. Did you do it? Yes or no? That was my success. So
Okay.
for me, I written a novel. Check. Is it a bestseller? Hey, I wrote it. If I go
Right.
back and put in the energy to become a bestseller, to do the marketing and all that stuff, that's a new checklist. But right now, it's just about the checklist. And where is my energy coming in off of this checklist? So in this case, mine was for this checklist for My Cousin Connection. I'm not doing this one alone because for me writing a novel had nothing to do with sales. Me writing a novel had nothing to do with sustaining somebody else's income. But if I did My Cousin Connection, I have to sustain income of people who work it. I have to sustain this. I have to make this happen. So we're not going to do this alone. No, if we're going to
I
move to
feel you.
continent, if we're going to do all this stuff, it's a FUBU situation for us by us. We're
For
going to take
right.
care of each other. We're going to be the collective that we've always said we're going to be. And that's how My Cousin Connection is going to come about. It is not going to be me. I had the vision, but we had the momentum. And that was just really intentional for me. In that case, I think I said I was going to pin something and I forgot. I need to go back to it.
Um,
So I think it was, uh,
was it related to
we just
YouTube?
said it.
Because
No, it was like, I
isn't that
just
that one?
related to this. I should have been writing, but
I
we'll
was
go
trying to
back
write
to, but
down
it's
some of
like the
these things.
lesson that I
Yeah.
learned. So My Cousin Connection was a we effort and not
Gotcha.
a me effort.
I
And
love
so
that.
now I do drive it. I do, that's, I'm pretty much like the forefront, but I have a person who works. I used to have a couple people. And that's in entrepreneurship, downsize, upsize, change positions, all that other stuff. And then there's other ventures that have now come into play. So that's where it is. But that was the journey of My Cousin Connection, and
Wow.
being able to have this supportive voice that was able to cut through everything and say, if you want this information, here it is, or here's how to get it. And that was the big deal, just kind of cutting through the noise.
That's amazing. Wow. And I love how you were saying, like, I hope I'll quote it right. You just said it. There are certain things that linger in safe spaces, I think, as opposed
Mm-hmm.
to the things that bother you. And I don't hear people say that a lot. So that was cool to hear you. I don't hear people say it like that. But when you said it, I was like, oh, that can be rare sometimes because you can be so agitated by things that you may be trying to change about yourself or
Yes,
goals
and
that you
it
have.
drives. Oh my
Yeah.
God,
It can drive you.
that's the
Yeah.
so the first piece of it is having to learn how to quantify and qualify. And I'm gonna have to start taking notes. So one of the things that I recognize is I'm a sensitive soul, and people don't realize that. Like I'm gone, 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 gone. And it's very easy. Like right now, if you be like, "Hey, your lipstick is smudged," and I'll be like, "Oh my god, my lipstick is smudged." Da, da, da. And like for the whole interview, I'm gonna be sitting here lingering on the fact that my lipstick was smudged. So the very first thing, and that's a bad example, but what I had to
No, but I get
recognize
it.
is that not all advice is good advice.
Yeah.
Not all advice is good advice. And I watched Brene Brown, and she was the first one that I loved. And she was like, one, quantify your advice.
Hmm.
Who is it coming from? If that person's not in the same realm as you, that's an opinion. That's not
Yep. Heard
advice.
that. Yep.
So, first and do that. And then the second one is being a spiritual person and knowing I have the right to be protected. And we get so busy being strong and everything else,
Hmm.
but I do have the right to be protected. There's things that I do that are immensely valuable, and if those things get tarnished, it can mess me up and it can mess out others. So I
Yeah.
have always, before any conversation, somebody be like, "Hey, I want to talk to you for a second. Hey, I want to offer you some advice." I always either in my mind pause and I say, "God, it goes to you first, then to me. And if there's something I need to take from it, you will give it to me, not that person." And so I literally always do this. And so that's what's helped me in knowing now the differences between the lingering and the troublesome. Because people will still give you advice.
Hmm.
And I will burn, like I've been in situations where I've been burning and fuming, and I can't believe they said, "Who do you think you talking to?" Right?
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
but that was it really advice? Did it really grow me? And that's the other thing. People who love to give advice very rarely ask questions. So
Yeah.
how can you advise me if you don't know about me, if you don't know what
You got.
drives me, if you don't
Yeah.
know why I chose to do this? And I mean, it's something very simple on like even now, like, because I have a team, and one of my
Hmm.
team members came and was like, "Hey, just so you know, I've been in management for a long time, and this move that you made really wasn't the best move that you made." And I was like, "Thank you so much for telling me that. However, the move that I made kept that person employed." And they were like, "Oh," and I was like, "Yeah, because if not, I would have to cut their hours, which cuts
Hmm.
their salary." And they were like, "My fault." And I was like, "Okay." But I also noticed you rather tell me what to do versus saying, "Hey, I know this isn't the best thing, but is there a reason why you chose it?"
What
That's
motivated this
different.
move?
That's totally different,
Yep.
right?
For real.
So it's just learning to quantify your advice and your challenges. And I don't want to get so off track because then it goes to the other one where you were talking about the lingering one. The lingering pieces,
Hmm.
um, they're not as loud.
No.
They are
A little more subtle.
beautiful. They're subtle, but they
Mm.
stay there and you choose to ignore it or not. And I just saw, and this is probably bad, but there's this brother who just did this big post. So I think that either like some major company, Gap somebody, is now doing like this Black Ivy League line. Like they have
Hmm.
Spelman, Morehouse, they have like
Hmm.
5 colleges, and they have like these very elite outfits. It's fashionable, right?
Okay.
For those. This brother's coming up, and I saw his Instagram. It was sent to me, and he was like, "Yo, me and my friend had this idea back in 2008 or 2000, no, 2018 or 2015." And he's showing his handwritten logos, he's showing all of his other stuff and
Hmm.
everything else like that. And he's like, and so in my mind, I'm like, if you had the dream, what happened to it? Why aren't you a competitor for this company? And so he's saying now, okay, we're going to come back. We're going to ignite the dream, come support us, do all this other stuff. And me kind of like, is like, I'm going to support your work, but you had the dream. You didn't pursue it. That was that lingering thought.
Hmm.
You had something that was precious inside of you, and you decided to go differently.
Yeah.
Sometimes the things that are inside of you are meant for something, but it's just not been birthed.
Right.
And that's your responsibility. If a woman has a seed in her womb, she has to carry it. Dude, she has to carry it. She has to nurture it. She has to change her lifestyle. She
Hmm.
has to turn around and study. There's so many things that have to happen in order for something to be birthed. It's a
Right.
birthing process. And sometimes your
Wow.
quiet, lingering thoughts are birthing processes. It's just little
And you got to
moments.
pay
And so if you
attention.
really get caught with those, you pray on it and you just say, okay, if I have it, if I'm supposed to bring this to fruition, show me how.
Yeah, I
Show
love
me how.
that.
Because with my cousin connection, there was a moment I was about to be like, there ain't gonna be no more cousin connection. Like when I
Got
talked to
you.
God, I was like, bump this. Ain't no more my cousin connection. And literally, like I promise you in 24 hours, it was resolved. And that's because it's
Wow.
not mine. It's not mine. I am the leader. I am the vessel. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
I do.
remember I said
Yep.
it's not a me, it's a we.
It's a
And
we.
every time I
Yep.
be ready to make it about me, something happens. Every time, I promise you, even last week, I was like, ain't no more cousin connection. And then I'm going into the parking lot and somebody is like, J Essence, my family's been here for the last 4 months because of you. Huh? And I'm talking
Wow.
about canceling it. Like,
Right. You never know who's
that's
watching.
one thing. I don't know who, but I don't know how y'all are, but it's like, I hate saying it like this. God is like that one soulmate love that after you be like, I ain't doing it no more. He can send that one message to you, be like, okay, all right. So we're gonna meet up at 10 o'clock and talk about this. Like,
I see.
he knows how to bring you back. He
I,
knows how to bring you back. You
I
have
get
to
what you're
ask
saying.
him for. And all the
Yeah.
times we're asking for answers. And I think I'm
I know I do.
asking, I'm asking. Sometimes, I don't know. I'm just a jack. He created me. Because there are some times where I'd be like, "Yo, I don't even know how to do this." So either you answer it or, hey,
Because I don't know.
just let me know this is, like I cannot do this. Help me.
Yes.
And I think there's other times it's just like, just breathe through it.
Okay.
Breathe through it.
That's,
And I was watching Steve Harvey with Earn Your Leisure, and that was really a good interview. And he was sitting there saying, okay, how many people have had bad days? How many people have failed? How many people have struggled? How many people have cried? And, you raise your hand. He's like, okay, did you get through that day? And you're like, yeah. He's like, all right, you're strong. Stop trying to be more. Like, all you got to do is know how to get through. If you get through, you have the tenacity that you say you don't want. You have the discipline you say that you want. You have it all, but you're looking at different barriers to turn around and say what you're successful at. Baby, you woke up. You woke up with the audacity to dream. You woke up with an idea. You woke up and decided to Google something. You woke up and decided to email some crazy chick on YouTube and be like, what else could happen? You see what I'm saying? Like,
exactly. Yeah. That's wow.
That's the power.
That is.
That's the power of everything. It's just small little moments that keep on moving.
You're reminding me of I don't know, do you watch a lot of movies yourself? Do you even have time? Because you're reminding me of a movie scene.
Really?
Yeah, you're reminding me, it's a new movie called Pig with Nicolas Cage. I think it
No.
came out last year. And
that's all right. I'll put it on my desk.
Yeah, it's
last 2 years. No.
It's fine. No, it's there's just
I
this
love
scene. There's this scene where Nicolas Cage is, I won't get into what the movie's all about. It is about following dreams and kind of owning those things that linger. It's a pretty dramatic movie with some sad, poignant moments. And there's a scene where Nicolas Cage, he had kind of a mentee character from years past. And then he runs into this character again. And this character is very accomplished and looks like they have it all together. But there's this ability Nicolas Cage has. He kind of looks this guy in the eye and he's like, they meet at a restaurant. He's like, this is really nice and everything, but what happened to that pub or something that you wanted? When we met 10 years ago, he's like, I mean, I get it. You have 5 Michelin star or however it works. And you got this great staff and the wine is great, but I'm looking in your eyes, dude. And where's the young guy that I met 10 years ago? And it's a really arresting scene because the mentee kind of breaks down, but like there's this tug of war because he's trying to be professional and suave. Yes. And he's like, Nicolas Cage is cutting him down and he's not trying to be mean to him, but he's trying to remind him of what you said, those gold nuggets, where's your happiness? Dream, that happiness that lingered from 10 years ago. You look accomplished now, but it looks like you didn't pay attention to the subtlety of that lingering happiness. So when you went through all that, Jay, you reminded me of just how it's like everyone who talks about the movie Pig, they talk about that scene because it seems to resonate with everyone What was that lingering moment of happiness you should have paid attention to?
I think it's beautiful because I'm going to go watch it now. But even what I can recognize in that is that we ask for the ability to make, and that's something I go through now. I want to make these dreams come true. I want to be at my place of happiness. What I've recognized is that I have to go back and say, what is your happiness again? Because like now I have all these different, I'm working as this, I'm working as this, I'm working as this. And I have stated to my team, because they're worried about me. They'd be like, you have 7 jobs. I know I have 7 jobs.
I'm going to ask you about that in a minute too.
I said, I got 3 years to have 7 jobs. I have 3 years to have 7 jobs. And then because some of my jobs are income investments. And then I'm going to turn them over. And the thing that I love about the scene you just said, so I have to watch it, is that we lose the original vision and we become professional and we become career oriented and we become this. And I'm like, yo, I need that, because I need to literally put the picture of, I am begging my God to be able to sustain the happiness. That's why I have 7 jobs. Because I am putting in, I want investments, I want this, I want to be able, literally, I drove to my farm. And for those who are watching, I'll put this up by then. And the community around the farm. And it's like, okay, I want to impact the school system around my farm for the village kids. I want to have books here. Like there's really, truly things that I want that I never get to talk about. But the reason why I'm driving this is because, I don't care if it's ego. I don't care if it's pride. I don't care if it's me. I know good things and I want to be able to implant those things into a community so we can thrive. And I said, we can thrive. And I believe that at least with Rwanda, they have the leadership and vision to be what we as Black Americans dreamed we could be. We know what we are. We know the beauty that we possess. We've never had the parameters in place to authentically drive those goals. And I do feel that at least Rwanda has these parameters in place that says, hey, you have a dream, come over here. Starting a business is free. What can you do? What can you be? What can you innovate? You still gonna have to fight now. You still gonna have to do some stuff, but you can at least prove what you want to be. So for me, the big dream is, how can I create these sustainable incomes that I don't have to sit here and stress about a day to day? I have the income flowing so I can build a tomorrow. That's the goal. That is the big all-time goal. And I sit there, my happiness, I don't know if I'm saying this right. I think I'm still being worked on, but my happiness is on a farm. It's a very modernized farm with hot water. Like
I got you.
It's a bougie farm. I've learned things about myself. Cold showers ain't gonna happen. So it's a very bougie farm with a little steam room.
Mm-hmm. No,
but I really do want that quiet sunset. I do want that beautiful space. My end days are not going to be in a board meeting yelling at people or anything else. My end days are going to be still making solid decisions that impact the worlds around me, the worlds that I can touch.
I love that.
And I said I wanted to be a 3G network. And people are like, what did you mean? God, I forgot about this conversation. I said 3 generations deep. That my impact touches 3 generations deep. I want it to be 3G.
I love that. Here, so on the tail of that, what's it like? Recap again, just real quick, what My Cousin Connection does and what it was like building a business and your team.
Okay, My Cousin Connection is a premier website for expats who are trying to relocate to Rwanda. Through this website, you can have different subscription levels. And the very basic gives you information, which is articles where we have talked about shipping. We have given you lawyers that you can talk to. We've given you different ways to make sure your cell phone and information is ported. We're constantly just trying to give you articles. One of the great things we did is constant updates with COVID and restrictions and lockdowns. To help you understand those things. Recently, they started doing, I forgot what it's called, but it's the Community Pickup Day. We don't know what that is. So we posted out like, yo, we know you don't know what to do a community pickup day. This is what you do. Because they have so many systems in place that people automatically do them. And we're coming in like, I don't know the system.
Right. We don't know.
And nobody knows we don't know the system. So the basis of what My Cousin Connection does is that we do have a VIP level. And in that VIP level, those people, we meet monthly and just have dinners. We go to different areas. We also kind of take care of you. You get discounted rates, because the other piece that we've learned with My Cousin Connection is in relocating, you need help. We actually have, and that's Emmanuel, who sets up bank appointments.
Awesome.
We do visa stuff. We do a lot of the legwork that can be confusing. And you were here. So you just go and get your bank account. It could take 3 hours. It can be network up, network down. And so those are things, we've already got the paperwork here for you. We already have all the things that you're supposed to bring. We have that checklist. We give you breakfast because we know you're going to end up being hungry.
They're trying to keep us alive. I love it.
And so, but process. Just that, and so that part, and it's making it easier, because sometimes, and this happened, the networks went down. So our clients, we were like, no, go home. We'll keep it up, whatever else like that. We'll come back and we'll finish all this paperwork, and then we'll bring you back when it's time to sign. And they were like, cool. We do the legwork. We do that. We do the heavy hitting. And so those things are helpful in that. So My Cousin Connection is still defining itself. We are not even a year old. So I'm not comfortable all the time saying this is what we do. But Understood. This is what we have done. We've had, like, even us being there when somebody's buying land, because our people are bilingual. So they're able to help make sure, and we know what the paperwork is supposed to look like. You don't. So we're looking at the paperwork. We're like, wait a minute, it doesn't say Gutera, which is very important because that needs to be residential. What does it say? What's the square footage? What is this? You know, is it subdivided? Whose name's on the plot? And I think very recently, and these are things we know, that people don't know, is that every person's name who's on the paperwork must be there to sign over the sale. And one of the persons had died. And that does not attest, because they were like, well, the person's dead and, you know, they can't sign. They were like, no, you didn't go get the proper paperwork to show that this person has died. Like, this is for the locals, that you show this person has died, so you still can't sell. Like, we've been through the processes to know the paperwork piece, so your time's not wasted. And that's what we're really trying to do. Wow. Because I will say Rwonda's really good at not running corruptness. Okay. They have entities in place. Like, thank you to the leadership for doing that. Yes. And I don't want to say, however, there's also systems we just don't know. So a lot of times it's not corruption. It's just that wasn't the system.
That wasn't the system where you weren't aware, or.
Yes. It's so, or this person's not lying, or they didn't know what questions to ask. So who's there to help represent? What questions do we need to ask? When do you need to have this? Prime example, even out here, getting land, you do not need a lawyer at all. In the States, we do. You don't need a lawyer out here to get land. It's a notary signing, but you want to make sure your paperwork's together. And those are the things you want to make sure that's taken care of.
Each time, every time. Wow. And so, and you said, and this I knew, can you speak just a little bit more to how easy it is to establish a business in Rwanda? How does the government help?
Yes.
And how did they help you? What's another way they helped you? That's great.
Yeah. Yes. So
fist pump in the air, for real.
Yeah, fist pump. Shout outs to Rwanda. Shout outs to the Rwandan government. One of the things I do believe, if you ever had a chance, and I advocate people coming to read the 2050 master plan.
Yeah.
Rwanda has a plan and purpose. Remember when I said it's that brother in the club with good credit? He planned this. You know what I'm saying? He planned it out. Yeah. He planned it out. And as soon as you decide to go holler at him, he got your plan for the next 50 years in check. Like, you just need to go ahead and holler at a player.
Everything's in order.
So the thing is that RDB is Rwanda Development Board, and they are the entity responsible for business. And literally, yes, you can go in and knock on the door. It's not even a door, just walk through the glass building, and they will direct you to whatever you have, even if you have questions. And one thing that I will tell people is you don't have to have a plan before you come here, because they will talk to you. And I know of a cousin who went in and had a plan, and they were like, hey, you know, that's a good plan, but that's not going to work here, because this is what our market is like.
Okay.
And then they actually have an investors room where you can talk to if you want to be an investor, and they help guide you through all these things. So one, you have counselors there that will help you. You want to do agriculture? Have you checked the following districts? They have a lot of land available. They need these resources. Here, go to this department and they will be able to help you meet with these people. That's how helpful they are. Number two, it is absolutely free to register a business. Absolutely free. There is no money anywhere.
It still blows my mind.
To register your business. There are things I do tell people as expats, and you want to be careful about your time frames, because once you register a business and once you receive your TIN, you're pretty much on the clock. And they give you, I'm off my numbers right now, either between 6 months to a year to get your life, to get it together.
Good
but
range,
they do give you this grace period
Mm-hmm.
to really make sure that you're doing it together, everything, because you will be paying taxes as a business. You will be having to do all that. Because one of the things that I do say, you need to have either an accountant or a paper person to be able to track your business. So you'll be ready on the back end when it's time for you after that year grace period to do whatever you need to do. But you can register, and there are so many different entities. I want to say like over 150 choices you can pick from. And one thing that's very unique with their business is that you can register and have multiple businesses underneath your one registry. And so it's just talking it.
That's great.
Like, so if you wanted to do a candy store, but then you also wanted to have a boutique line, a lot of places will make you, even the US, will make you have to register a business for each one. No, you can register them all underneath one name or one title. I have J Essence Enterprises, and I have different businesses that work within that. Even with J Essence Enterprises, what's happened recently, because like I have more ventures, J Essence Enterprises is able to be a partner in another business. And that's what I've just recently done. So I'm trying to work everything through J Essence Enterprises, and then all the businesses run underneath that. So the idea of creating a business is not difficult at all in Rwanda. You can walk through it. You can have somebody walk through it. You can have my cousin connection counselor help you walk through it. I think that we've had 2 people we worked with directly to develop their business plan, because they kind of didn't want to get tripped up. So we helped them do all that. And then you can go back in and amend and all those other things. So very helpful to be able to do that piece. So, and I think that's where your question went to, going towards the entrepreneurship round, because being an entrepreneur or being a business owner, there's a lot of technicals that you really have to start thinking through. It is not, I hate saying that. I feel like I'm a party buster. It's not all fun. It's not all, okay, I got this business. No, you're responsible for things. You're responsible for people's livelihood. And there's challenges. And how do I make this sustainable? And I'm in a country that's not my country. Something very simple. And I'm going to probably get in trouble for blasting people out, but so be it. They'll yell at me. Because I'm hosting, my Constant Connection is hosting a movie night. And in that movie night, we're watching the movie Life. And so I'm like, yes, like we're happy, live, and that's a very popular movie in African-American culture. However, this is a My Cousin Connection event. If I turn around, and My Cousin Connection has a very streamlined base. If I was trying to just do movie night as I'm a Rwandan business and I'm going to do movie night, I'm going to do Life is not going to be a drawer for Rwandan culture. They don't know what it is. And you're trying to do a whole bunch of different things. And so what I'm trying to say is that you do have to turn around and learn different systems and learn what different people want and decide who you're going to be in that. And a lot of times we want to say, hey, and I can go into my business venture. This is very pertinent to me now, because my agriculture business, we're raising rabbits. We're raising rabbits totally different.
That's right. You are.
Yes. Told you. I said there's 7. Did I not say there's 7?
Yes.
Did I not say there's 7?
Some of the video. Sorry, continue.
Yes. But there's a lot of things that we're doing that they have never seen before, to the point where, yes, me and my team are on the ground arguing, like, do it this way. And they're just like, this Mzungu chick is crazy. And I just be like, well, I'll be the crazy Mzungu chick.
It means wanderer, guys. Or stranger.
Yes. It means, okay, so it actually means foreigner.
Foreigner. Thank
And
you.
it's a foreigner, and there's history behind it, because while I'll say like a Mzungu, they will call each other Mzungus because they're foreign to what they know. And
Okay.
so yeah, so
Something
when
you're
you
not
go into
aware
the
of. Gotcha.
village, like some Rwandans will be called Mzungus because maybe they're coming from a different,
You're right.
class or whatever. So they be like, no, you're a Mzungu too. Mzungu, 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 Mzungu.
Thank you for the definition.
So
Okay. Y'all learned a new word
but
today.
yes. But in my case, and why I say that is because and let's just be honest. Here it is. I'm coming in as a foreigner, and I'm saying something as simple as the way that you hold rabbits. I don't want you to hold rabbits that way. You're going to hold rabbits this way. And they're like, you're crazy. And I'm like, this is what you want to do. And I'm sitting here talking about stress and everything. And I was just like, at the end of the day, whatever y'all, I had a boss who I thought was crazy. So y'all could just go ahead and think I'm crazy. But this is the way we're going to hold these rabbits. And also, and that takes relationships, because now they're all like, oh, okay. Like they say, our rabbits are fatter. Our rabbits are such and such. Like she might be crazy, but she's onto something. So it's a growing process. So I use the example of the bunnies because in this case, we're doing something 100% different than it's ever been done. And if I was trying to, as a business owner, make immediate money or profit off of the bunnies, I would fail. I'm not giving enough time for new things to be learned. I have to prove myself. I have to, like, we have a practice garden so people can go look and see what we've actually done. Like, it's a very, very slow process. And that's why I say it's important to understand that when you're an entrepreneur, even though I know something, I can't just teach it to anybody. It's show me. Like, it's the same thing. Like, and we're like that too. Like, oh, you going to do this? Show me first.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I have to have the proof.
I just want to
It's
see
not
it.
just about
Proof is in the
talking
pudding.
and discussing it. Yeah. So you have to be in a position too, when you go into entrepreneurship, depending on what you are, is where am I bumping the heads? Where is the startup cost? What is it going to cost for me, or what is it going to take for me to do something and be okay before I must have a residual come?
Gotcha.
And then what are my bottom numbers? What are the absolute bottom numbers? Because we have to go away from, I'm not going to be able to sell something at a US equivalent price. I'm selling at a Rwandan price because I'm Rwandan. And one of the things that we have to deal with a lot is because we're in agriculture. What's the price point for the local, like the village? What's their price point? It's not high like it is in the city. So then who's our clientele? Who's our base? Like those are conversations we have. Are we looking at corporations? Are we looking at local farmers? Who are we trying to target, and what does it look like? Those are harsh conversations you really have to come to terms with.
Wow. But sounds like you have risen to the challenge.
I'm
majorly.
rising, baby. I rise. Let me Maya Angelou my life together, baby.
There you go.
Come on.
Let's take a quick break from My Cousin Connection just for a second. We'll come back. I wanted to ask about travel. Did you travel a lot growing up? And if so, did you have a favorite vacation or travel experience?
This is not the answer you want. So the technical is I did travel a lot growing up. One, my mother is just an explorer, and she's like, the kids got to learn something. We're going to explore. Like, it was just that. And that was all stateside. But I do remember this is her feelings are so hurt. I do remember her taking us through the Grand Canyon. Because we were driving to California, and she drove us through the Grand Canyon. It was midnight, and we were asleep in the car, and she woke us up to see Grand Canyon, and we had no light. So, but she was so excited. So I remember being like, oh my God, it's awesome. I don't remember what it looked like. We just wanted to go back to sleep.
Did you even see stars? Do you remember if you even, at least you wouldn't have city pollution?
I'm telling you right now, the Grand Canyon, I don't remember anything about that trip.
Yeah.
But I tell her to this day, I'll be like, oh my God, yes, we did that. Yes.
That's hilarious.
So, but and then my parents were divorced. And so they were state, so we were traveling state to state. And then my family is big and all over the place. So we had to go visit family and all that stuff. So, and I think the issue for me was that I was such a traveling bug. I don't know if I ever understood what home was. And that was a good thing because people are like, oh my God, that is not a good thing. What happened is, and one of the best things I ever felt that happened is my mom put me in a camp. I promise you, maybe at 7 or 8, and it was overnight. It's like I was in that camp for like 3 weeks without my mother and without my father. There was, of course, parent visiting. Why I say that's so important and valuable is because, like, I had no problem leaving home and going to college. You get
Okay.
what I'm saying? I had no
Yeah.
problem leaving. I know how to love my parents and my family from afar. They know how to love me from afar. So I never,
Ooh.
ever had to feel like I had to be in a certain location to make things happen. And that was
Wow.
something that came from me moving around a lot. And I don't know if that was on purpose, you see what I'm saying? Or it's
Yeah.
just like accidental, but I was able to move overseas. And a lot of people struggle with the family responsibility. And I'm going to pinpoint, I'm going to come back to the young part. But what happened is the moment I wanted to move to Dubai was
Hmm.
harsh conversations with my family. Because it was one thing for me to be moving state to state, but moving across the seas, it was a very harsh conversation.
Yeah.
And people are like, how did you know? Or how did you do it? How did your parents be okay? And I said, because I sat down with my mom and told her the truth. And it was the ugliest conversation. It was the hardest. And I cried, but I told her daughter was struggling. And I told her that if something happened to her, I don't have the finances to even put you in a home. And I need to figure it out.
Yeah.
That was the hardest conversation, to tell her I feel like the woman who she raised is failing. And she didn't understand it. But she, and I, like, if I ever have a conversation, she comes in, um, she agreed. And now she's living with me in Rwanda. Like, do you
Yeah.
see how this turned
Yeah.
around?
Ooh,
Because it was
full
like
circle.
literally because you let me go, I was able to go out in the world and I explored and found out a lot of things. And I don't like the way that we were taught to live. So I'm going to create this space. And because she's hard headed and she's a Leo. So you ain't got to come. But the moment you decide to come, you're taken care of. And her funny story is that she came out here to save me.
That's
Because she was
funny.
like, my daughter's moved to Africa. She's crazy. She's raising rabbits. This is not the girl who we pay student loans for. Like, no. And now she's out here living her best life. Um, so it's
I
so
love that.
funny that I go back, and that's why I said the whole moving, I learned to live and love from afar, help propel this moment now where, one, she's in her retirement years, her social security more than covers her lifestyle. She is taken
Nice.
care of. Like my team,
Hmm.
one of them has said, no, I'm her bodyguard. Like she cannot go anywhere without Eves.
Oh, I
They
love that.
take
That's
care.
great.
They know all that stuff. They know everything. She has this new lease. She's out there naming bunnies and all kind of stuff, and she's part of the program and all this
Hmm.
stuff. And so she's doing things. She's not just sitting in the house watching Netflix, waiting for stuff to happen. Like, and then let me go ahead and put her business. She out in the club wearing a bodysuit, which I found out later.
Mama is
In a
living her life
see-through
like it's
bodysuit.
golden.
74 in a see-through bodysuit that was supposed to be for me. Went through my bags. I was like, I'm not doing this.
No, she didn't. Yes, she did.
So
Oh
the roles are
man.
reversed. So that's what I'll say first when you talk about the traveling. I do think, yes, the ability for me to have just traveled at a young age, always know that there's something else to see, really
Wow.
does impact a lot. And then you asked where was my favorite place.
Yeah.
And my favorite place that I had ever visited was Brazil, but that's not when I was a kid. We never went anywhere. And this is why I said this is not the answer you want. My favorite place was Vegas, because
It's your story. Now go ahead.
because
Go ahead.
my family would get drunk and we found out so much stuff in Vegas. We'd be like, because Vegas was our Christmas spot for a while. Because
Okay.
my family was from all over the place, so it's
Hmm.
easiest and cheapest for everybody to fly to Vegas. So
Gotcha.
we would spend our family holiday, my mom's side. I'm saying all the business. In Vegas, it was just easier to do. And
Okay.
then, yeah, Vegas was like, it was always something to do. But my family, baby, when they start drinking, we'd be sitting back like, so what happened? Oh, so y'all try to shoot my uncle? Ah, you know, like,
So what had happened was, and it won't leave Vegas because you know what they say. I won't say it because y'all know, but
so
that's
it was Vegas. It was Vegas.
wow.
I think the memories I have from Vegas are just hands down.
That's awesome. I did go briefly for maybe like 2 days. I took a road trip from Maryland to California, and we stayed with some people in
Yeah.
Vegas and this
I'm sorry.
strip.
Let's Maryland to California
That's right.
is
Yeah.
a whole mecca. That's not a road trip. That is a mecca. That is a rites of passage.
But it was. It worked out. My Uncle Wesley, shout out to you, Unc, had just sold me his car, and like I needed a car, so it happened at the right moment. The silver Honda Accord LX. Don't
Baby McCord to get you through.
Yes, they do. I don't care what was it, Lisa Ray McCoy said in what was that? What was the movie? Oh shoot, Players Club. Is that what it was?
Yes. Is that it? Yes.
Was that it? I think that's you gonna be with somebody driving a Honda Accord. Well, mine got me through my mecca. As you
did you want to get where you needed to get?
I got where I needed to get. Yes, and I missed that car. Even now, I had a fun 3 years with that thing. But yeah, we enjoyed.
Mine was the Stanza, Nissan Stanza. My Nissan Stanza.
But yeah, but no, we enjoyed a little bit of. Enjoyed a little bit of time there. What's your favorite like cultural touchstone, like music, food, fashion? You know what I mean? Do you have a favorite thing about culture?
So let me tell you where my fears are. I'm afraid to say food because I'm gonna get sent to like China and it's gonna be like, here's a bug. I'll be like, nah, player.
They got more than that.
No. I'm gonna definitely say music. I'm gonna say for me, it's music, it's vibe. It's music, is vibe. It's festivals.
Oh yeah.
Culture like that kind of thing. Like I'm a big person on making memories. And I remember even like when I visit somebody's church or they're not the same denomination as me, it was always about the experience of I'm here to support you. Just don't do no crazy stuff. Don't pull no goat out. But it was about memories.
No, I'm playing.
Yeah, technically stuff has happened. Technically, if I promise you that I really want to start that podcast, like just JS and tell stories, because technically things have happened every single time.
I know
people are like, this did not happen to you, and I'd be like, actually it did, and it's hilarious. Like it did though. It did.
But definitely music. Okay.
I would say the music, definitely. Music and festivals. Those stand out to me.
Nice.
Music, the dance, yeah.
And what's your favorite thing? Do you have a favorite thing about Rwanda right now? And can you speak to anything great or small that you had to adjust to? Because we all got to adjust when we move someplace new.
The greatest thing, I just still can't get over the views in the land.
Yeah, same.
I can't get over the views, and I feel so corny. But all the time I be standing someplace, like, look at the view, like look at the view.
Like in your phone, I don't care if you got the new iPhone 13 Pro Max. Your phone does not do it justice.
It never does it justice. People like nobody can understand nights in the galley. I can't explain it. It's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. And then you need to go to Eagle View and look at it from there. Oh my God, it's ridiculous. Eagle View. Oh my gosh, Eagle View.
I put it on
Eagle View. Even yes. Oh, ridiculous.
Okay.
So I would say, and like I said, I feel so corny saying it, but like that. And then even though you talk about big views, just it's so lush.
Yes,
it's
and green and yes, flowers
green everywhere. And the cleanliness of it and
palm trees.
All that. I mean, it just feels beautiful walking and being here.
Yes.
And so I think that's the one thing I can't get over, because even last night I'm driving home, and so when I'm driving home there's an incline and I'm on a hill, so when I'm at the top of the hill, and then I promise you it was like some song came on like Phil Collins, and it was just like this is a moment, it was like dun 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 dun.
I can feel it coming in the air tonight,
in the air at night, and I was coming down that hill with the view. I was like, what? What?
I love that. I love that. That's great.
So yeah, I'm gonna say I cannot get over the views, the lusciousness, the just even that. Like people take pictures in my front yard. You're invited, but people like I'd be like, oh, is that my yard? Oh my God, it looks good. Like, oh, shout outs to the gardening. Okay.
Yes, and the
that's me.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's the big one. What has
Okay.
been the barrier?
Yeah,
Ah,
or an adjustment. Again, great or small, just whatever stands out.
what stands out is we take a lot for granted, not recognizing it. And so I would say it's a language barrier, and then there's also an adjustment to who we are culturally.
Sure.
And I
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
that because something simple like my big one is just the bathroom.
Gotcha.
Because
That's
I'll be like,
everywhere.
hey,
So
where's the
what's the bathroom
bathroom?
situation?
And they'll be
Yeah.
like, no, where's the bathroom? And they'd be like, huh? I'd be like, the bathroom, the restroom,
You
the
mean
washroom.
toilet?
Yes.
You mean
And
toilet?
so
Oh, toilet. She want the toilet.
and it's the funny
Yeah.
part is like, so here it is, because we've been taught like top education, use your words, da da da
Right.
da da, and then you get here and you be like, oh my God, what did I used to say in third grade? Like
Exactly.
like
Right.
So I was like, my mom is gonna kill me now because my language has come down so much. But
that's just how
and
it
while
works
that's a
here.
funny
Yeah.
story, it does get frustrating.
Sure.
With
Yeah,
it, it does get frustrating to be in that kind of barrier, or kind of us like, why does it take an hour for me to get food?
Sure.
Can you tell me why does it take me 1 hour to get food, kid? Like, I have never had an appetizer take an hour. Like, an appetizer is supposed to, like, just so there's frustrations, and I
Yeah.
love it because it's like it's first world frustrations.
Yeah.
But you
That's
don't realize
honest.
that
You don't
because we
think
just
about it.
grew up in it. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, yes.
And everything's so
that,
fast
but
in the States and things like that. You have that
beyond,
convenience. You do.
beyond. We are
Yeah.
very convenient, and
We
then
are.
here it just be like, and they'd be like, it's a process,
Or
and that's
be
her
patient.
answer.
Yeah, that's the answer. Yeah.
It's a process. It's a process. Oh, okay. So is there anything we can do to make it? No. But is there somebody I can talk to? No. Let me just get a book. Or you can learn like me. I call ahead and order.
Right. Yeah. Or do that. Yeah. Because in the food, so to your point about the food's so fresh, they probably killed the fatted calf right now while you're waiting.
One person did tell me like, hey, since you ordered this, we're going to go to the market and buy it real quick. Oh
wow.
Okay. Bring me another drink.
while I wait. And it's just something you got to get used to. But hey, I mean, you won't be sorry.
It is.
And especially in the case of
food, like running, like I'm
down.
A person, I promise you, I have a notebook now. I have 10 errands that need to happen. 6 will get done. And that's a good day. That is a good day. Okay.
So learning to be patient. That's
it's
definitely
just
been
the learning.
well.
It's like you can say it's just it is an adjustment. It is a harsh adjustment. It's just an adjustment.
But it's worth it when as you begin to you
consistently. And I think for me too is that I've created a team around me. Mm-hmm. And so I've been here like a year and a half. Mm-hmm. And so awesome. Now we're following the rhythms. Now they're getting it, and so it's kind of like, so it takes time. It does take time.
It does take time. Let's circle back. This has been great, Jay. I won't keep you too much longer. I know you got things to do, but this has been great. Let's circle back to My Cousin Connection. What was it like? Or also your business ventures overall, like you mentioned, team. What was it like assembling your team in a new country?
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's very hard. Like, I don't even know if I want to tell the whole truth. Like, this should be a private conversation.
No. Only what's comfortable. Hard. Absolutely. Respect. No.
And I'm gonna be. It's very hard. It's very hard. I've had to learn so much more about myself. And that's because I took for granted the amount of training that's needed in some aspects. Okay. And the willingness. And what happens is a lot of people are like, oh, no, I want to be trained. I want to be trained. And just because people say doesn't mean they can do. And so there's areas that I must slow down. And I would be honest with you. One of the basic ones was just one of the things that we're working on with the urine is seeing if we can combat millibugs, which is such an agricultural term right now. And agriculture and stuff like this. And so I would literally tell my team, hey, you're going to spray here. You're going to do this. You're going to do this, and go. And I'm on to the next venture. My team is like, yes. No problem. There was a big problem. They didn't understand. I talked too fast. And they just didn't get it. And so
Gotcha.
what I had to recognize is that my work as a teacher had to come home first.
Okay.
And so I don't tell anymore, I teach. I explain what a mealybug is. I explained how it migrates. I explain how it works. I explain, and like I made them act it out at one point. Okay, you be the mealybug, you be the ant.
Okay.
Because now, and it's so funny because they'll see me and I'll be like, go get something. They'd be like, oh, because I will literally do like visuals from like how I taught in school, like to teach you things because I don't want to say it again. And so in that piece, there is a harsh assumption on if I hire you to do something, you can do it. Because that's what we're coming from. Versus you're going to there's two things. You're going to have to do training, and you're going to have to find people who are humble and hungry enough to, and I hate to say want to be trained, but humble enough to know they need to be trained. Because there's a pride there. There's a pride. And I'm not saying that's a Rwanda thing. I think that's just a thing.
I know I've had that. And absolutely.
Yeah. And it's like, no, you really don't know what you're doing. I can love you through it. But if you want to box me at every level, and this is where I want to get in trouble. I think the new generation does that a lot. So go ahead and shoot me and stab me all you want to. But it's like, I'm 44. I've been through struggles. I think that before you can sit here and tell me what to do, how about you go through a struggle? And I'll use the same example I use like to me with fitness trainers. I do not like going to any fitness trainer who has not been fat. Okay. I'm fat. I need you to know that struggle so you can know what I'm going through. But if you sat there and been skinny all your life, we can't talk.
I can see what you're saying. So, that lived experience to know, nutrition.
Because a person who's been on that side is more humble and able to hear and listen and learn. And so in the same aspect, I do feel that's one of the and I've talked to other people. We struggle in qualified talent, but I also believe that the government is strong in trying to build schools and build that up. And so if anything, if people want to come here, I would say bring the training, bring the schools, bring that piece. And I'm going to sit here and say what would be the better piece for you to help bring is financial literacy and understanding. Like if we're going to go ahead and talk, and I'm not saying that we don't know about financial literacy, we haven't been taught that. But if we could really fix a nation, fix about how do you save, how do you grow, what is compound interest, how can you build this? Because that is going to build an entrepreneurship or even a baseline that understands the big picture. It's not about working day to day. It's about building and creating and growing. Yeah. So I will say that the struggle is really finding a team and building a team, and it's going to be ups and downs. You're going to have to let some people go. You're going to have to find new people. You're going to have to get creative. And then even now with my team, I have no problem. I train them. And not even train them, like now, because we've worked together, they have teachable courses that I've paid for that they go through. Somebody just got trained in SEO. I'm about to have another one go through Instagram marketing. I rather invest in people who've already invested and been with me. And I want them, if they ever hear this, I want them to grow. I want them to have their own. Just don't leave me stranded. Like, let's train somebody before you go and get your own. Right. But no, yeah. But it's that and I think that's the thing. I love knowledge. I love being empowered. And so once you find people who can do that, and let's keep going.
What's your favorite thing about what you do? You and your team do? Oh, say again. I'm sorry.
I create. The thing that my mother, I really do. I want to get a tattoo that says create with the little African symbol behind it. Because at the end of the day, I create even the businesses. And then what my mother told me in talking, and she's seen everything, and she was like, do you realize, because I had a down day, let me be honest, I had a down day, and I was just like, I don't know if I can do it. And she's like, you have to do it because look at what your energy has created. And I'm watching, and my team is, building cages, like, and innovating. Like the way we build cages is totally new now. And she's like,
For the
they
rabbits.
feel
Yeah,
confident trying new things.
that's
And that
good.
is because of your energy. That's because you created this space
Hmm.
where they could. I mean, and it's like a bad example, but even my chef, because I was like, can you try something new? And I think there's such a, I want to do good. I want to do
Hmm.
good. I don't want to get fired mentality. Um, that he's going to do exactly what he knows. And I'm like, no, you can, you can mess up. And so
Yeah,
he
you
did.
got to be able to
but
mess up.
but there's some new things that gets created, and so that's what she told me, and that's really what hit home the most. So if you say what I love the most is that I'm creating, and that
Hmm.
my creations empower people.
I love that. Um, can you speak to, well, let me go back again just real quick, because you have to be able to mess up. That's not a
You
Rwandan
have
thing,
to.
that's
Oh
an
my God.
everybody thing, so that you
Yeah.
can kind of gauge your progress. You've talked a lot about learning
Hmm.
things about yourself, either,
Hmm.
weaknesses, strengths, where to pivot, things like that. So I think that's
Oh
really
my
powerful that you said
gosh.
that. It's very important.
Yeah.
Um, to that, what any because a lot of what you do is on YouTube. You touched on that earlier. Can you
Some. You don't know some. Okay.
some can you
Some.
speak to
I still have other
any
things.
can you speak to any challenges to YouTube, especially in case people find you that way
Time.
and sharing? But you said time,
Time.
yeah, because I get the
Time.
impression you do
Yeah, time
a lot.
and being exposed. Um, that's the honest one. That I've exposed myself to so many more people.
Hmm.
And so in transparency, not all people are good people, but I
No,
catch
that's
it
true.
first. And there's been some pain, there's been some hurt, there's been some lies, there's been some treachery, there's been some your reputations out there. And like I said, J Essence is a persona, the real person. I don't have to do this, but then in the
Right.
same aspect, I get somebody who's like, "Oh my God, the fact that you did it is amazing." So the YouTube world, that part is that's the hard part.
Gotcha.
It's a debate with every thing that I do, and this is so crazy. Depending on when you see this, for anybody who listens, if you go look, I am posting a video in the next 2 days about my trip to the farm because we had to plant trees. I'm talking to my students in this one,
Okay.
and because I love my students, and it made it easier for me to do the video
Hmm.
because I felt like because that's an audience that doesn't judge me, they just want to be there, they love me. And I don't know. I don't know if that's a better way for me to continue to do things because I'll do everything for my students. I'll do things for people who want to learn. But YouTube is exposing. It's an exposure. And I do think that there's a responsibility. Now, I will say this. I've been blessed. Oh, this is what I was going to touch on at the very beginning. So this is a great full circle about the likes and everything else. The thing that has blessed me with YouTube and what I've learned, it is not about how many likes. It's about who is watching. I could have I had a video, my lowest performing video before I got wiped out was about Sheila's honey. No, it wasn't Sheila's honey at the time. It was a honey video with a young lady named Sheila. It was the lowest performing video.
Okay.
It was the lowest performing. People did not watch that video. However, the one person who watched it out of like maybe 174 views was the person who invested in it and made it Sheila's honey. And it's like this major entity now.
Yeah, I want to check out
So
Sheila's honey. Yeah, I
yes,
follow them on
but
Instagram.
it's not about the likes. It's not about the number of views. And the one thing I will say is while you turn around and say, I don't like being exposed on YouTube, YouTube has put me in faces and conversations I never knew I was going to have and around people. So there's a deciphering that happens. I get the good and the bad. And what happens is I got to remember the good. We allow negative things. If I gave you 10 things about you and I said your glasses are crooked, you're not going to remember the 9 things that I said that was positive. You're only going to remember the negative. And that's how we do life. And that's not the way to do things. And so I constantly have to do that lesson now of, even though I had this bad moment from this person who met me on YouTube, these have been the great moments. I cannot let the good be overshadowed by the negative.
Yeah.
There's been so much good. And even like I said, with my viewership, I appreciate them because the people who rock with me have rocked with me. And that's the one thing. So I am going to stay authentic to my nature, who I am, what I am, and all that other stuff. If you don't like it, scroll. I'm not lying to you. I might get a t-shirt that says scroll. You can scroll. You can go to next. I'm not going to be hurt because I'm not in here for fame. I'm not in here for likes. I'm not in here to be the next popular thing. I'm here for you to have some information. And I'm here to grow what I'm building. And I thank you so much for being part of it. I thank you for your energy. And even in this piece, and I have to be honest with it, even for the people who have done me wrong, I still thank them because there's a moment in whatever movement they had that I did grow from and I did do from. We just can't talk no more. But I do appreciate because I'm going to take the positive. Like I said before, I might have to fight for my blessing. So I'm going to fight. Since you messed it up, let me go ahead and tell you what you're going to do that was positive for me. Thank you. I'm going to take the positive and keep on going. Because honestly, that's who I am and that's how I roll. There's too much work I must do to be consumed with the negative. There's too much work. And I'll be honest with you, I got people who depend on my brain and my energy and power. And I love that my people can feed their families. And I'll end on this one because, well, I don't know if it's the end or not, but like my chef looked at me, and I do have a chef and I love it. And he looked at me and I remember I talked to him and I was like, hey, so are you still going to do catering? He's like, no. I'm like, but don't you want to do catering? He was like, no. And I was like, but you started a catering thing. Come on. He was like, he said, he looked at me. He said, you my retirement. I said, all right, then play.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
He's like, I'm happy. He said, I'm happy. I'm happy. You're my retirement. And I looked at that and I was energized. Like, you know what? Bet.
Right.
Bet. We a team. We a team here. And you know that you take care of me. And he's serious. Oh my God, he's serious. He's probably surprised he hasn't come in now. He's serious. He will take care. I got my juices. I got my fruit seeds. I get my water intake. Like he is like, no, you must be strong. He is serious. And but what I do feeds people. It builds jobs. Right. So that is what my motivator is. So with the YouTube, I'm going to take the good with the bad because I got to help me find the good because the good is not about me. It's about we. There's a we with me now. There's a we, and I make sure I take care of them.
Wow, that's powerful because it seems like
3 generations deep, baby. That's the goal. 3 generations deep. Their great grandchildren are going to know. Mm-hmm. They're going to be okay. Great. They're great. They're going to be okay.
Building legacy, thinking about those that come after you and those that'll benefit. This is great, especially to the YouTube point, because how old is YouTube? Like 10, 15 years old?
Oh my gosh.
With all the innovation, it's still, everything you said is still the same thing because you can still get caught up. I can get caught up as well because mine isn't visual, or at least not at the moment, but you can still get caught up in subscribers, likes, and sometimes that can kind of sway your vision or your motivation and things like that. And I love the whole team of we and how you're thinking about how you're impacting others, from your chef to members of your team to how things came full circle with your mom. Now she's in full retirement, and just the positive effect. I think that's amazing. I thought that was a really powerful point. Why should people travel, in your opinion?
People should follow who they are, what they are, and answer those questions. That's what they should do.
Gotcha. Okay.
That is what they should do. if you've been tapped or whatever. Now, I do think that with traveling, it opens up and exposes you to more and to learn more and do more. And then this world is actually global.
Yeah, that's right.
So there's so much. But I would say before all of that, because nobody's going to turn around and get a plane ticket and then have a bad day and then be like, JS said I'm supposed to try. No, you have the right to follow the instinct inside of you or to answer the question. You have the right to answer the question. And you have to remember, like I said, I lived in Liberia before. And then I was back in the States for like 10 years. I ran away from Liberia. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? So not
yes.
everything's going to be roses.
Nope.
But
Nope.
I learned, and if I had not done Liberia, I would not know the power of teaching what I teach on YouTube
Okay.
because I wasn't taught that. I was told, oh, take a local salary. Never again. Never again. So those
Okay.
things they're like, mm-mm. But I'm not going to sit there and say the travel, you have the right to answer any question that has been instilled inside of you.
I love that. Yeah. Y'all heard it here. But you got to believe it, not just because JSN said it. But yeah, you got to follow
Mm-hmm.
your bliss as people. I know it's kind of cliche, but it's true.
But it
Especially,
is.
because there's only one you. No one can go do it for you. Nobody can do there's only so much. There's even so much
Do it.
problem solving JSNs can do for you, and she loves problem solving. But there's
Actually, I
some
do.
you
It's
got to
sad.
solve yourself. Sorry,
Yeah.
what'd you say?
Mm-hmm. I said it's sad.
Yeah.
A math teacher. I solve problems.
I love it.
Mhm.
We're gonna get ready to bring it home. Just a couple more things. What do you feel at liberty to talk about with the future of everything you do? From, I don't know, do you have new poetry books coming out, new books in general? Do you
I do
have
not know.
new critters coming to the farm? You're gonna raise something up? Like what's
The
the
big, the
future
big,
look
I will
like?
give you the big ones is the farm. We're trying to
Okay.
move our farm to Gashura. So there's a lot of thought and driving with that one. So that's pretty much the first thing. There's more work that I'm doing to help sustain that. I am so big on sustainable income and investing. And there's actually some work here. Hopefully I'll be announcing soon. I think I might be on the board of a couple of organizations out here because of
Awesome.
the work that's been done
Awesome.
and just going forward. So I think I'm keeping that open
Okay.
with the intention of not burning out as well. So trying to make sure I manipulate everything so it works.
Awesome. Oh, you know what? To that point about the poetry, how do you make time to create outside of business, like for yourself, to
Mm.
write
I'm
music, to
I'm
write
not even gonna
poetry?
lie right now. It sucks. Right now it
Is
sucks. I need to get
That's real.
battery. I need to plug in my battery. Hold on.
Got you.
Okay, so I'm not gonna live on this. I can do everything mantra. No, I haven't written. I haven't journaled. Um, is bad. I did start. I'm 1 month into a consistent workout, and
Awesome. Oh yeah, I've
the only
seen
thing I can tell you,
your workout
yeah,
videos.
the one
That's
thing
great.
I will say is that started is in New Year's. I created what I call was a grounding time, and so
Mhm.
like from 1 hour, I could not Instagram, I could not get on social media. So for that hour, I was kind of like doing yoga. I was doing meditation. I did journal in that time until I could figure out what my thing was. And then it came into, okay, it's two things. It's boxing and it's trampoline. And that's what I do. So I just got into that. So I'm not good at everything else. Nope. Mm-mm.
No, but that's good. But you have that time to be physically active, to be to
I put it there
yourself.
because I started with the time of grounding. And what happened was I did not negotiate that time. And so once I learned how to block out that time, then I was able to put something into that time.
Gotcha. Awesome. Okay, because you gotta have that time for yourself. Guard your time, otherwise it's gonna run
Mhm.
away from you. People are gonna take it, and then
And
you'll
it
be
does,
burnt
or
out.
I compromise it. I'd be like, well, I did this, so I'm going to do this. Like I am a workaholic. So,
Gotcha. Okay. Are there any other places you want to see, or
oh
countries,
God,
other places you want
yes.
to?
Oh my
Any?
God, yes. I don't like that you asked me this because I'm probably at a blank right now. Um, I do want to visit so many more of the African countries. I do want to at least, and I
Yes,
think
me
this is the
too.
thing. I do need to first do East Africa. While
Yeah,
I'm in Rwanda, I do need to do the Kenya, Tanzania, Burundi, Uganda. I want to at least know what East Africa is like.
me
And
too. Me
then I
too.
can push it back to West. Um, I don't know why. I'm just in love with the word Madagascar. Like I feel like I need to be there. I don't know why. Probably another reason why I make a bad decision. I go there, and be like, oh, and I need to come back. But that's really big. I have my big one is Egypt with my mother. That was just a really big thing I've always wanted to do. And then I don't know why it sounds so corny. I do want to backpack through Europe.
No,
I don't know why. And then I know I'm bougie enough, like I might actually like just take a backpack to Europe. Like I'm gonna probably play the words because I'm gonna be like,
oh my gosh.
Don't know, because like I did look at it and they were like, oh, you'll sleep underneath the stars. And I'm like, no, I've done that when I was 10. Like
okay.
There's nothing beautiful about camping. I know people love it. I'm like, that was part of my life.
Well, now they have glamping.
That was part and
unimpressed.
And
unimpressed. He's like, you're still in the outdoors.
Sorry, you were not. I don't know. I was a child whose mother like paycheck was paycheck. So like the last 10 days of every month was camping.
Gotcha. Love it.
Gotta be.
Yeah. No, but that's
like,
but yeah.
Cool.
No, she's
no
good.
lights. Like no lights. Look at the stars. Okay, we didn't know. We didn't.
No, we didn't. Make a fire yourself. No. Yeah.
Yeah. No, there's more. There's definitely more that I think I'm just open to seeing.
Yeah.
So there's not a place that I'm like I want to do Thailand. I'm just open to seeing. I just want to be able to physically see. I think that's my goal. Oh, this is it. So I was in love with Disneyland's It's a Small World After All. Like that was always my joint. Like that was it. So I think I am down with physically seeing It's a Small World After All. Okay. Like that's my checklist.
Cool.
Except for the snowy places. The snowy places I'm cool with.
Yeah, I'm good off the snowy places myself. No, that's fine.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Jay, this has been really informative. We've laughed a lot. We've shared, I think, a lot of gems on entrepreneurship, business, adventuring throughout the world, better yet, Africa, and since giving Rwanda their props. And we couldn't even say everything about Rwanda, but really grateful to have
Rwanda. That's what I'm gonna say. Respect Rwanda.
Respect Rwanda.
Respect Rwanda. Respect Rwanda. That's the biggest thing I will say. It's beautiful.
Really glad to have been welcomed here and learning more about the country all the time. And I'm just excited to see more what opportunities open up for you and for so many expats, especially Black folks who have come out here. Yeah. Where can people learn more about you and My Cousin Connection or get involved? All
right. My Cousin Connection has its own website. So it's mycousinconnection.com. You could definitely find me there. J Essence Journey on YouTube, and also J Essence Journey on Instagram. Then of course I always give people my email, which is jai@mycousinconnection. So you can shoot me an email and do all of those things there. So I am pretty findable.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Everyone listening, you should check her out. Her videos they're hilarious, very informative. One of my favorites was the one you did that really helped expats with filing taxes, like practical, very valuable.
Yes.
Like for real, like that. And it's, at the time of recording this, it's tax season right now.
Yes.
And so there you'll find things like that for all who are curious about traveling either to Rwanda or trying to kind of get their feet wet, get a sense of how some things are done in other countries, especially African countries or in the East African portion. Yeah. So follow J Essence. Jay, this has been great. Wishing you all the best, and I will continue to keep up. And we'll see you around Kigali sometime.
And I'm going to give you your invite to movie night.
Thank you.
Saturday night. Yes.
Awesome. We'll come through soon.
Yes.
Guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will talk to you again later. Peace.
Peace.